Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Good evening, everyone, from the Plan Commission meeting for March 18, 2025. The first thing is to call to the meeting to the order, and second is the approval of the minute.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any question, comments? No? All those in favor of approving the minutes for the February 18 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next, we move to item 3, public appearances for non-agenda item. Do we have anyone on the audience who wishes to speak to a non-agenda item? Okay, so next we move to item 4, agenda review. And the first thing that we have is I will open a public hearing and consideration of Ordinance 2025-0-02 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR-01-25, adopting and recommending the Spring 2025 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan map for property located off Nesby Road from business to high-density residential. So I will open the public hearing, and then we have Danny Affably, who represents the developer, and he wishes to speak in support. I don't know, you want guys to speak? Yeah. And introduce yourself. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Affably with JT Klein. Today we're bringing forth a minor comp plan amendment for the Orchard Point Lot 11, which is up on your screen here. A little bit of background on JT Klein Company. We are a multifamily developer based out of Madison. Our entire team grew up in the Dane County area. We've got a lot of experience in this type of development. One of the projects we've done is the Limestone Ridge project just to the north of this one, which is a 116-unit workforce affordable building. We're also in the middle of doing the Westgate redevelopment. So we've got a lot of experience in the product type that you see before you here. We are asking for the Plan Commission to consider going from business general to high density residential to build approximately 240 units of senior housing. Right now we've got a WIDA application in for the first phase. We'd probably build this in a couple different phases here. The first phase would be 80 units between 30 and 80% AMI, spread between 30s, 50s, and 80% units. What we really like about this site here is that it's very well amenitized. It's right off the bus line on Fitch-Rona Road there. The Orchard Point Shopping Center's got all your grocery, retail, amenities that is within walking distance. We think that we've had great feedback from our Limestone building. We think this area was well suited for a high residential or high density residential development. We've also went ahead and had our neighborhood meeting. We had it last Thursday, and 2 Fitchburg staff members, the owner of Quibby's Grove, and an alder showed up. So it was not overly well attended, but we sent out beyond the required list, and for the most part, there was no negative feedback. We had mostly informational questions, but we had the support of our alders in this area, and we think that this is going to be a really good fit for this. And I'd like to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Okay, thank you. So I think we are going to close the public hearing, and then we are going to Diana with your report, and then we are going to ask you questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just to help orientate Plan Commission and the public, the site is located here in Orchard Point. This is Nesbitt Road. Target is up here. This was the apartment development that was mentioned just prior. So the site is here, and the request is to go from business in the future land use to high-density residential, which would allow a proposal such as you've seen with approximately 240 units. The surrounding properties was noted too. There is a senior housing development to the north here, and some mix of commercial, and of course Quivy's Grove is across the street over in this area. The comprehensive plan does cite the need for affordable housing, infill, and diverse types of housing. The proposal would allow for each of these recommendations to be fulfilled. The proposal provides for mid-rise multifamily housing that does add some additional variety to the housing stock. Staff recognizes that this site is within a quarter mile of a bus stop at Fitchburg and Nesbitt, which is in a generally considered transit accessible location. So the site is accessible to bike and ped. There actually is a bike trail that just goes around the site to the north that staff would ask some connection to. The site plan was furnished as part of this proposal. We would just caution as staff to recognize that this isn't approval of a specific site plan, but we do like to see a site plan included in these minor comp plan amendments in order to understand that the proposal is moving into a direction that does comply with the requested future land use. So if Plan Commission does choose to support this minor comp plan amendment, we would ask for Plan Commission to act on Plan Commission Resolution 0125, and then also provide a recommendation to Common Council on Ordinance 2025-002.
That's it.
That's all on my end.
Okay, thank you. So I open the floor now for Plan Commissioners to have questions. Yes, Caro?
I have a couple of comments on this one. I'm not sure that I agree that in a corridor like this with no on-street parking and all business that residential is necessarily the best use for this. I worry about overflow parking occurring at the bowling alley and at the Gymfinity next door, since there aren't, I don't believe, sufficient parking spaces. I know we don't have a minimum anymore. However, I think especially in developments that are in heavily business areas, heavily used business areas, that we need to be cognizant of that issue. There needs to be sufficient parking. It is a senior oriented, and as a senior, obviously, I don't think that this is necessarily an easy walk to Target or an easy walk to the grocery store. There are moderate hills in every direction. It's a mile walk to get up there. I think the walk to the bus stop is fine because that's flat land, but when you're talking about hills of that magnitude, that might be, especially if we're talking low-income senior housing, we could have people with disabilities where that's not going to be functional. So I think those are a couple things to keep in mind with this particular site.
Okay. Any other comments? Question? No? Oh, who has? Oh, no. Who's that? I don't know who's Brian.
Actually, I have a question then,
Yeah.
too, if no one else. I want to know how many years the tax credits are in force where this will revert to being a non-senior housing building. Because I think the parking thing becomes much more of an issue once we hit that point.
It's always going to be a senior project for the affordability tax credits. It's going to be a 30-year land use restriction that would run with the land and the building.
So it's 30 years?
30 years for the affordability. Senior would be indefinite.
Seniors is now indefinite?
The senior portion of being a senior building is going to run the entire lifespan of the building.
Okay.
The tax credits that you inquired about is a 30-year
Okay.
land restriction.
So what are the requirements for residency in the building?
Do you mean income-wise or tenancy-wise?
Age-wise, tenancy-wise?
It would be either 55 plus or 62 plus, depending on the lure that we go with. I think right now we're at 62 plus.
And that's for all residents in the building?
That's correct.
So there can't be any grandchildren, children that are
They're
younger?
allowed to visit, but they wouldn't be able to have tenancy unless they were within the lease there, but it's all 62 plus.
Okay, thank you.
Are you planning to have underground parking?
Yes, all three of these buildings, again, a concept design, but it is showing underground parking for all three of the buildings. So each phase would have a dedicated underground garage.
Are you planning to do like a traffic study too?
That's something we would consider doing. I think for the Limestone Ridge project, we looked in that,
Okay.
but that would be, if at the recommendation, we would look into that.
And I know you said it, but remind me what the affordability criteria are. What is the breakdown between how these units work in terms of like the AMI?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the first phase, it's going to be between AMIs of 30% to 80%. That'll roughly, the actual income of the house will depend on how many people are living in the unit, but it'll range anywhere from $30,000 of annual income up to $108,000 of annual income, depending on which AMI bracket.
Who is going to be can you ask who is going to be the management company?
Yeah, we use the same management company, Oprah Corporation, again, a local management company based out of Madison. They've got, I think, about 7,000 units of management in their portfolio. They do a great job of leasing up the building, running our screening criteria, and making sure the buildings are well maintained. We understand that, leasing up's only half the battle. We want to make sure that these things are managed very well from the entire life expectancy.
Okay.
Excuse me, I have a question. Why this parcel and not the one to the north of it, which is right across from your other property?
That one there is tied to, I believe there's a land use restriction from the senior building next door. And to be frank, from a development size, we like the rectangular position of this one as well. So that one, you'd have to utilize the private drive that's coming through for the senior building next door. And I believe there's also some restrictions because it's a senior-owned building at that one, that senior housing may be a restricted use. We did look at that one, and we settled on this one as a little bit better fit.
There is an option in the other one, isn't it?
We have, I'm not aware that there's a current option on it.
Yeah,
right now.
some-
Maybe
yeah.
you know more.
I have an internal question. There's nothing that would force like someone to build low income on this if we change it to high density residential though, right?
What do you mean? Can you?
So if we change the designation to HDR and this falls apart, someone could come in and build whatever high density residential they want, right?
Yes, once, I don't think that we could stipulate that it has to, with this particular step that we're doing here to change the future land use, I don't believe there's any way to stipulate that it must remain some level of percentage of AMI.
What do we see, assuming that this passes, like what are the next steps for JT Klein? And do we have I know this is very early phase, but do you have any sense of the timeline? Is the 2026 build looking further out or?
Yeah, I think 2026 would probably be the earliest break ground. How the tax credit process works is we know in roughly May whether we receive a tax credit award, and then that's really just the beginning of the process. There's a handful of different things we'll have to do as we run through the zoning. We'll also be applying for the Dane County Affordable Housing Funds, Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago grants, and things like that. And we're able to run that parallel to the rezoning process, which is fairly extensive. We had to do the same minor comp plan amendment for a limestone building. So I would say 2026 is probably the earliest we'd break ground on this.
And how is the apartment building that you built to the north, how has that been operating?
So far, so well. It leased up fairly quickly, and we've got a wait list for a handful of different AMI units. It's been, from a management standpoint, it's been working pretty well, and the pool's been considered a very high amenity of the tenants there. So overall, we've had very minor issues, if none at all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor?
Shelley. Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I have the concerns Carol has, that it doesn't necessarily fit in this stretch of land, but I think to get affordable senior housing is a very big plus. But following up on the other question, is it possible to, I mean, I know we do the minor comp plan change and then the developer comes with the plans, but why can't we do it in tandem to assure that when we're approving the comp plan change, we're doing it because we also have the developer's proposal right there that we would act on. So that way we would assure that if we are going to vote for this because some of us are driven by the thought of affordable senior housing, that it surely would be a part of the package.
Shelley, usually the amendment to the minor's amendment to the comp plan, we do it twice a year. Is one in the spring and the other one in the fall. So this is why sometimes they don't align, because they need to, we need to do this. We have a window to.
That's correct. That's correct. It's an interesting idea to bring like the rezone plan development district forward at the same time as you're looking at the minor comp plan amendment. Yes, as the mayor mentioned, the timelines don't always align, and certainly there's a tremendous amount of more work that goes involved with the process to get to a rezone for plan development district, and this is kind of a first step for a developer. There'd be a lot more front end cost to the developer to take that next step with the minor comp plan amendment too, and the timelines function differently. Mm-hmm.
From a protection of the space element, if we approve it to high density, this falls through, something else comes forward, I mean, we would have a couple of steps to say no to some other proposal, right? If it's, not what we think would be good for that space, or, to other questions around affordability or things like that.
Currently, how our existing zoning code is written, as poorly as it is with our high density zoning, any sort of multifamily development project that comes forward here is going to have to go to plan development district, which allows the plan commission and council much more leeway in what they're requesting in that plan development district.
Okay, thank you.
But
you have any other
isn't
question?
it correct?
Do you have another question, Shelley?
Yeah, but isn't it correct that state law precludes us from putting an affordability tag on any development? So while we would be able to look at it, for other developments, we can't deny it if it's not affordable, right?
I'm a little out of my league there. I'd have to check with the city attorney on that before I answered.
Okay.
So my final comment is I move forward. I was one of the sponsor of this amendment because this is a infill parcel that has been vacant for many, many years. We know that retail is not coming. We are having a lot of issues bringing retail to the city, or people, we have a lot of retail spaces that are vacant for a long time. And I think we have a need for affordable housing, especially for senior. is close to the transit, is close to retail, like a Hy-Vee supermarket, other. I agree that maybe, it could be half a mile or a quarter mile away from, from Target, Hy-Vee. But I think we need to look at the whole picture of this area, and I think this makes sense to bring this type of housing here. So this is what I move forward with this.
I have a question. Now that the bus stop has been mentioned a couple of times, isn't the nearest bus stop to this up by Target? It's not on Nesbitt, correct?
No, it's at the corner of the roundabout. There is one.
Oh, okay. So it is at the same elevation. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I believe there's one also where the parcel kind of hits Fitchburg, and I think there's a stop there as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's one closer.
Okay. Any other comments, question? Okay. So we've all those in favor of the.
I think we need a motion.
Oh, I don't have to do that. Yeah, you do it, guys. Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we start with the Plan Commission?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve PCR 0125.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the PCR, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Next one.
I move approval of ordinance 2025-002.
Second.
All those in favor of the ordinance 2025-0-2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Thank you. The motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Item B, rezone RZ-2583-25, request by Aisha Liquad, agent from Holdings LLC, to rezone property from low-density residential to Planned Development District General Implementation Plan to allow for a proposed condominium multifamily residential development on property associated with 2735 Rimrock Road. This one was postponed from the February 18 meeting, from Plan Commission meeting. So, okay, so we have a couple of people that they wish to speak. So we have David Bombrew. He wishes to speak in support. Okay, you have 3 minutes, sir.
We sat down and we had an agreement with Chad to get this proposal through, and he kept his word, we've kept ours, and it went through the Common Council, it got approved, so now we're right back where we started. So what's all this about? I don't understand it. Why do we keep throwing wrenches into something that's always been agreed upon and gone through the Common Council? No answer?
In this moment, we cannot answer. We can answer after we finish with the public hearing, public comments.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you.
At this moment, I cannot answer that. We can answer your question when we finish with the public comments.
All
okay?
right.
Thank you. So I am calling Tina Bambro, too. She wishes to speak in support. And then I am calling Matt Owensby. He also wishes to speak in support. So you can come, the next one.
We've had numerous meetings, individual and through the community with Chad, and we did come to an agreement, and we support what he's doing because he's been listening to what we want as our community. And at one point in time, you guys asked us to communicate and come to an agreement, and we're asking you guys today to do the same because this is kind of getting old. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Matt Owensby.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Plan Commission, for your time. I'm Matt Owensby. I live at 79 Maloney Drive, directly across from the proposed development. So this is going to be directly impacting my daily life, day in, day out. My main discussion points, I've spoken previously at these, have always been about limiting traffic entering onto Maloney Drive, and obviously that'll be passing by my front driveway. I've got a child at home. There's a lot. The added traffic is not something I look forward to. With that in mind, I am opposed to a passageway to the property of the north. I know that's been a hot topic that has been tried to be implemented at these. I've been opposed to it the entire time, so I'm just saying that. Another thing is I do not want a sidewalk on the south side of Maloney Drive, and I want a development that is compatible with the existing neighborhood, including receiving neighborhood approval, which we have done with Chad. And with this in mind, I would like to speak in favor of the proposal for development for Aisha and Chad. When this planning first began I think it was over 2 years ago now, the neighborhood was in strong opposition, as has been voiced. And the committee emphasized that Aisha and Chad needed to get consensus with the neighborhood before the project could take place. And since those initial meetings, they've had countless neighborhood meetings with members of the neighborhood and got buy-in from all the members of the neighborhood. And then these plans have been brought to the city, but the city seems to continue to nitpick over minor details and move the goalposts along the way, such as like the green space or the bike parking. None of that was anything brought up earlier. And I don't see that on other developments along Rimrock Road, so I'm not sure why it's being nitpicked in this circumstance. And with this in mind, I personally just question the committee's motive and who they are attempting to serve with this continued delays over minor details. Is it the neighbors? I don't think so, because we've come to an agreement over a plan and there's continued minor nitpicks. Is it the developers? I don't think so. They've had agreed upon plan, and they've gone from a high interest or a low interest rate environment where they could build. Now it's a high interest rate environment. Tariffs are taking place. Inflation is taking place. It's a lot higher cost for them. So I don't think it's the developers. Is it the future purchasers of the condo? I don't think so either, because with those higher costs, the price of those condos are going to go up too. The taxpayer is paying for all these meetings. I don't think it's an efficient use of taxpayer dollars. The property owner to the north has benefited from all these meetings because they have the sticking point that they want a passageway to the south. In my opinion, if they wanted that passageway, they should have bought that property when it was on the open market. So I guess I just question what the motives are, and I conclude by voicing my approval for Chad and Aisha's proposal, and I just open the discussion to the committee to justify their stance going forward on any further delays.
Your time is
and
out.
And what those delays, who are they serving, while keeping the taxpayers and the neighborhood at the priority of your minds. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I am calling Diane Peace.
I live next door to the property and am in favor and have worked with the rest of the neighborhood. But the effect of putting that road through would hamper us a great deal. My comment is I think we need to let Chad and Isha get started on their project. I see no reason that the group has kept them from doing this. So I do have one request. When you build, when the road is, they do something with the road, could they put in a place for the water to drain, a drainage area up by the city, where the city of Fitchburg and the city of Madison meet? Unfortunately, all the water from the city of Madison comes down our road because they didn't make the developer put in any drains when he built up there. Unfortunately, when it rains and that water comes down, it comes over on, and my front lawn is a lake. And the town of Madison put in a big drainage ditch for me, which did help and does help and takes care of it. But if you put curb and gutter in there, that water's going to come down and it's going to go up over the curb when we have a good rain. I just would like to request a drain there.
We'll see.
So, right where the city, the two cities meet. So, but I do hope that you will give the approval so that they can get started. We'd like to get it going.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
So next I am calling Harvey Mathis.
Good evening. My name is Harvey Mathis. I live at 95 Maloney Drive. I've been there since before the city was a city, 1979. At that time, Maloney Drive was a dead end, and because of the inability to negotiate a reasonable plan with the city of Madison, the development kind of dumped the 300 residential units onto about 3 exits to that whole development. A large portion of them came down what was a dead-end, 2-lane, narrow road. It has since been not really upgraded much. To the thought of somehow allowing a large number of additional units to come on to Maloney Drive is a totally abhorrent situation that I wish that some greater consideration was given. I've seen it go from a dead end to quite a large volume of traffic, and now the thought of even more traffic is something that I have a great difficulty. Although I definitely feel that Chad has done as much as he could to try and mitigate that issue, I find that his situation has been one of folly. It seems like he has, from the very beginning, indicated to make this an economic feasibility. He needed to have a certain amount of units that are in there. And over the process of the last 2 years, he has just continually lost square footage of land that he can devote to this housing units. It's now to the point where his most recent plan has really pushed the boundaries in all directions, so that there's almost no amount of space between the edge of his property and the adjacent properties. So I appreciate his problems, but I think the process has been one of frustration for well over 2 years, and I'd like to see that we move on with this. But do not forget the issues of bringing in additional traffic over and above what he's planning for his property. Thank you.
Thank you. Last one is Sally Hoft. Haft, okay. You wish to speak in, I don't know, in support, in opposition, I imagine
I'm
in
speaking,
support.
just speaking
Okay.
for a minute.
Okay.
I am in support of the project. I also am frustrated for Chad and Aisha that they have really helped us and talked to us.
made sure that everything was okay. Yep, we've been here. In fact, when I walked in tonight, the mayor said, "Oh, are you here again?" Yeah, I'm here again because this is important to us because I live on Maloney Drive. And there's traffic that goes down every day, and the speed is pretty fast. Yes, the green space is there, but it's widened. It's going to be, maybe it's going to happen, maybe it isn't. But that's a residential area with houses, and you are hoping kids are going to be there. Yeah, they don't have a big space, but they'll play in the yard, they'll play things there. What's going to happen when all those cars come through there? Which it shouldn't happen. And that's because we all said we didn't want that happening. And you all listen to us, and when we go and sit back down, we say a lot of things, but we can't really say anything at all. So please listen to us. Please listen to the builders. They really have tried. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we are moving to the staff report.
Okay. I will try to follow up on a couple of the questions. Yeah. I apologize that this seems like it's kind of rehashing the same thing again and again, but actually this is very normal in our planning process and in our permitting process. The first step that we all went through was to change the future land use. That was the minor comp plan amendment. The next step was just a normal part of a pre-application that before we get into the rezone. So what we're doing tonight is the first step of the rezone of the property. And unfortunately, it does take quite a bit of time to go through this process, but there's very good reasons for that. That is probably more background in terms of utilities and how the site is actually going to function and work once constructed. So tonight, what we're doing is doing the first step for that rezone. We're rezoning to Planned Development District General Implementation Plan. This project will still need to come back to Plan Commission one more time for the second step of the rezone to Planned Development District Specific Implementation Plan. Generally, at that step, Plan Commission also reviews the architectural design review. So I know that it might seem like that we're rehashing the same things, but I can tell you that behind the scenes with staff, with Public Works, there's a lot more detail that happens in each one of these steps that the staff level is working through to make sure that this is built properly. One of the things that we have been working through is with the county and with the city of Madison. You will notice on the new site plan that one of the things that has changed is the detention area, or I should probably say the bioretention. Maybe you can give me that, Scott. One of the things that has changed from our last month review is the bioretention pond has enlarged significantly. And this follows on Ms. Pease's comments about the amount of water that's coming off of the city of Madison's lands to the east. In working through this process in the background more, the engineers have been working through making sure this is properly sized to address the amount of water that is coming through the site. We are hopeful. The intention here is that we can alleviate some of the flooding that currently happens by having a larger bioretention pond here. And certainly when the road plans do move forward, when and if for redoing anything on Maloney Drive, we certainly will ensure that we're properly addressing the water going forward. So we're not trying to nitpick. I know that was a comment, but this is actually a very normal process for a type of project like this.
Okay, I wasn't here last meeting. Why we delayed that one? Can you explain? And the thing that...
Yeah, I will try to just kind of summarize some of the things that changed here too. I talked about a slightly larger bioretention pond there. Also, what you'll see is that the there was 8 single families that have become attached single families here. So there's 4 groups of 2. And what that did was allow the developer to address some of the concerns about open space. There was concerns about open space. And so by having that shared wall, it provided a little extra open space and allowed for the larger patios. I note in my memo, I was wrong in the dimensions of the patios. The patios have increased for each one of the units, so there's a larger patio space that's being provided. Also, at the last Plan Commission, the commissioners had some concerns about about potentially allowing some access to the north, having a connection to the north through the neighboring property would potentially offer an option to connect to the intersection with 89th degree latitude, the street just to the north. I think that Plan Commission has heard that there's concerns from the neighbors about that, but that was also one of the concerns that was voiced last month.
So that green area there, Diana, is going to be like a park area, the green?
It could be right now, and at least if there ever proved to be a need or a desire, a need and desire to make that connection to the formal intersection to the north, that would leave that open.
Okay. Okay. Any question, comments? Okay, Aisha, yeah, come please.
Happy to answer any questions, but one of the things I did want to point out from the last meeting as well was the concern for open area, open space, and then green space. So the green space was expanded a little bit. One of the things that was brought up was grilling, as a grilling area that was included as well, so that there's a common grill section for the residents. So those improvements have been made to the current plan. One thing we do want to note is that on the latest version that we're looking at tonight, the condition number 4 kind of indicates mechanisms to ensure connectivity to the north. We want to make sure this is not a condition that impacts the development because we have no agreement in place with the neighbors to the north. We met with the city planning team individually and walked through some of the options, but this is not something that's agreed upon and should not be a condition for the development. The language right now is what I have a challenge with. The language indicates that the city is mandating this when we say mechanisms to ensure connectivity. And I think Deanna had mentioned in the last Plan Commission hearing that the city doesn't really mandate it, it recommends it. So we'd recommend a change of the language of number 4 or removing it completely.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I think there's a fair argument there. The intention was that we would allow the ability to continue to explore. I think the site plan has achieved what my intention was here, however poorly written. So I think depending on how the Plan Commission would like to move forward, we could just leave the applicants will continue to explore possible long-term connectivity to the north.
Why is so important, the connectivity? I don't understand.
So there was
Plan Commission.
There was discussion last time about the fact that the owner of the property to the north talked about the fact that they'd be willing to connect to this development in terms of future development to bring a route up to the lighted intersection further up Rimrock. I think there's a belief that it could alleviate some of the traffic on Maloney, which was part of the priority for making that a possibility in the future. But we also talked about the fact that there's no assurances of that, and the city can't have any impact over whether or not that'll happen or what the outcome will be. So I would agree that I think that the plan gets at kind of a best case scenario for if that becomes a reality, and if that makes sense and will alleviate traffic, we now have an option. But I would agree that I would strike that, because I don't think that we need to hold this development to making that connection or anything about, I guess, holding the development for that reason.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I would say we need to remove that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think it could be removed. I brought that up last time, but it was mostly curious about the bigger picture, but I think that's a reasonable request.
Thank you.
I'll also voice appreciation for everybody involved. I know that this has been a ton of input and a lot of time. As a commission, we saw these plans for the first time last month. So some of this was our reaction to specific plans. We know there's been conversation and generalization around what was going to happen at this site. That was our first time to react to this. So just to explain some of the logic and our ability to weigh in, which, as Deanna illustrated, we're going through the process, right? This is when these things can happen. We want to make sure that we're taking into account all stakeholders and feedback and doing what we can in that space. So we appreciate the input.
Any other comments?
Is there any objections or anything? Otherwise, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to make one. I think the duplexes are a nice solution to create some more green space. I work for Habitat for Humanity, and we build a ton of duplexes now because they're so much more efficient. They're less expensive to build. So I hope it helps building some more reasonably priced, whatever works for you. But I think it was a nice solution, so thanks for bringing that. And I think it's a beautiful development. I'm excited to see it progress.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Awesome. Very proud to make a motion for the first condo project I have seen in a long time. So kudos to you. To move forward with and approve rezone RZ 2583-25 with the remaining 14 conditions after number 4 was removed.
Second.
All those in favor of the rezoning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Oh, the motion carried. Okay, thank you. So now we move to item C. This is another public hearing and consideration of conditional use CU-2585-25, request by Jason Jones, agent for the City of Fitchburg, to permit a conditional use for a utility and governmental facility, specifically a water tower, on property associated with 4974 Lacey Road. Okay. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak on this public hearing? Nope. Okay, I closed the public hearing. So, Diana.
Okay, so I'm just going to walk through the conditional use permit and then also the architectural design review for the Lacey Road water tower. The location of this has been long planned, and here's the Lacey interchange right here with 14. So there'll be a little driveway that would come up to this spot, and this is actually the location of the water tower. This will be a major landmark. It will be plus 100 feet in the air. So it's going to be very big, and it's going to be very prominent. And so it will, I put a little map too, and I guess I don't have my memo right up here, but there's a little map. This water tower will serve a big chunk of the northeast portion of the city. And it's been something that's been long planned, and as development has continued, we're at a point where it's time to move forward with this new water tower. You will see that there is the Fitchburg logo and the name. There will be one that will be visible driving north and then one visible driving to the south. So Staff, in summary, there's not much, there'll be some fencing proposed around the surrounding area. They will be planting with grasses, some native grasses on the site and in the location here. There's will be some occasional maintenance. It's nothing that would be regularly staffed or anything. The only thing that staff does point out, we do expect that there could be, the city might start to lease out for cell services and telecommunications. This approval before us tonight is not for a telecommunication permit. They would have, an individual telecommunication provider would have to bring forward a separate permit for that. So just pointing out that in the future, so staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit and then also the ADR.
Thank you. There are two, C and D.
Yeah, we're going to do the conditional use permit
First
and then also the architectural design.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
I'll move approval of conditional use CU 2585-25.
Second.
All those in favor of the conditional use, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, sorry. The motion carried.
I'll
Sorry, Shelley. I need to wait for you.
And I'll move approval of the ADR for the Lacey Road Water Tower.
Second.
Any question? No? Okay, so all those in favor of the ADR, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Opposed? The motion carries. Okay. So now we are on item E. Is the final plat FP-2584-25 request by Kevin Pape, agent from Green Tech Land Company LLC, to obtain final plat approval to allow the subdivision of one outlot into 6 new parcels, including 2 buildable lots on property located off East Sherrod Parkway and Lacey Road. Okay, so we have Kevin here. He wishes to speak and answer questions. I don't know, you want to add anything else, Kevin, now?
No? I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So we are going with the staff report, and then if there is question, they're going to ask you, okay?
Oh. Okay. So this proposal is in an existing outlot in 9 Springs. So it would be subdividing this existing outlot just to kind of orientate you. This is Lacey, East Sherrill, Green Market Place, Central Park Place. So dividing it to create 2 buildable lots at this particular time. What do you need?
Which one are the buildable lots?
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So this is a buildable lot right here. And then this is the buildable lot right here. So what that means is this is where a building can be built. The building here at the corner of East Sherrill and Green Market, that's the proposed Life Point rehabilitation facility. So Life Point is proposing to build a rehabilitation facility there. Staff will be working with them through an architectural design review process, but because this one is smart code, right? We are in smart code. This site is actually in smart code designated as special district number 1. So you all will get to see this one come through as an architectural design review. Yes, you will.
Oh, I thought that we don't see a smart code.
You do see smart code when it's in a special district. If it's a standard district, you don't generally see those.
Can you explain why it's a special district?
Yes, I certainly can. Because what is being proposed is a medical type facility, and they are not able to, the type of building and the type of layout that they need, they're not able to meet the requirements of our standard smart code development of our standard smart code zoning. So with that additional flexibility in the smart code, it comes back to Plan Commission for review.
Okay.
So we handle that a little bit differently. So I will point out the intention right now is Avante would keep this parcel at the roundabout. They are working through some possible options for multifamily. And there is a outlot that would be just a alleyway, driveway, and then these would be 2 outlots that would serve for parking and shared access. Staff does make one comment that I will just pull out. I'm going to throw up the existing Article 3. So in Smart Code, we always work off a master plan. And this is Nine Springs master plan.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm flipping you around, but here's Lacey.
Okay.
And then here is the block that we're looking at right now. So this medium gray refers to special district number 1. The darker gray is special district number 2, which is related to, that's where Shine is. And they're more research and development technology. So the one thing that staff has a condition in here where we have some concerns is in our master plan that you're looking at right now for the entire Nine Springs area, there's 2 passages shown. The little white strips are pedestrian passages. In Smart Code, the idea here is to create an urban setting, and so that prioritizes the pedestrian. That's the goal here, right, is to prioritize the pedestrian. So our master plan is showing these a pedestrian passage here, and then a pedestrian passage here. And so one of the conditions that I'm just pointing out is that we will need to continue to work with the applicant to address what's shown here on our master plan.
But can you change that? You don't have any flexibility in this master plan to,
Oh yes, we always have flexibility in our master plans. These can change within. There's very specific codes that rest behind all of this pretty colored map. There's very specific zoning codes, but things can change. And I will just say that it's important just in Smart Code that we recognize first and foremost the pedestrian, right? Because we're trying to create that urban context here. So,
I mean, is there any issue within the currently planned development that we couldn't run a pedestrian path along those designated
good question.
pathways?
Right now, yeah. So I think there's room to probably work with that pedestrian, but right now this alleyway is shown to be about 27 feet wide.
27.
Yep. And so if your normal 2-way driveway is about 24, there really isn't enough room to have an adequate pedestrian way.
But can you add sidewalks there? Why not?
That's what we're going to have to work out.
Okay. Okay.
But otherwise, staff recommends approval. There is a lot of conditions, and that just relates to all the different pieces and parts that have to happen in the background, mostly with Public Works. But happy to walk through any of them.
Okay. Any questions, question for Kevin? Yes.
Can you just share a little bit more about the two, one or both of the projects that are planned for the lot? Whatever is wherever you are in your plans that you might be able to share.
I'm the surveyor on the project. I'm not the engineer, but
Okay.
I will just say I have seen just concepts for the Avante project. I don't know that they've gone any further than that.
So it's a multifamily. That would be the multifamily
Yes.
development, okay.
Yeah, and then the medical facility, I think, is maybe 2 engineering design right now.
Okay.
But I'm not involved in the actual engineering design, so I can't really speak to how far along they are or where they are in the process for that.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's not required for approval. I'm just curious
Yeah.
because I've been hearing about some of these things coming for a while, so excited to see plans once they're ready to be.
For a year.
Yeah, once they're ready.
Since April 2024. Okay. Any other question, comments? No? Okay, so I need someone to move this.
I'll move approval of final plat FP-2584-25 with the 21 conditions laid out by staff.
Second.
All those in favor of the final plat say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carried. So thank you very much. Thank you. So next we are on item F. Is ADR from Jamestown Crew Car Wash, request by Catherine Rayner, agent for Wingrove Real Estate LLC, to obtain architectural design review approval to approve a proposed car wash on facility on property in Jamestown Quarry neighborhood located at off McKee Road. So do we have anyone here for that? Nope. No?
Do we have anybody online?
No? Really? Okay.
It's a little surprising. Oh, okay.
Okay, so.
All right, then
go.
I guess
Your
I'm
report.
up. Okay. So we're back in Jamestown Quarry, our new commercial development. You might recall on McKee and Fitchrona. We have already approved the ADR for Chase Bank, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and this is the last of the 4 lots that will be fronting on McKee. So this is the car wash. McDonald's will be on the west side of it, and then Chick-fil-A will be on the east side of it. I'm showing the site plan here. What is proposed is about a 6,000 square foot building, about a story and a half with drive-through service. The site will include parking stalls primarily for those vacuums. Unlike Chase Bank, this site is not on a hold corner, so staff hasn't been as detailed with the building elevations. However, they did accommodate a staff request to, and I can show that, to increase. They did accommodate a staff request to increase the elevations at the north side and then provide some height here in the middle of the building. So what you're looking at here is the east elevation, and that doesn't quite seem right to me, but this is this would be the high part facing McKee. So that would be a side elevation. The building materials include limestone units and then that reddish kind of brick color that staff has been trying to get some consistency across each one of the 4 buildings here on McKee, so that they're all sharing a limestone material along with a brick material in the facade, so that a greater sense of placemaking. The applicants did respond to staff's request to include a darker color on the window framing and the storefront materials so that there's more consistency. Staff did request that the trim pieces be a darker color, more similar to what has been done with the other buildings. Applicants are proposing full cutoff fixtures, and the lighting plan does still need to have a little bit more work to clarify the average foot candles across the driveway does not exceed 1.5. And then staff needs to understand the proposed lumens that will be on the flag on the site plan. The amount of landscaping staff feels is sufficient. There's actually quite a bit of landscaping also in this development. And the dumpster enclosures would also be screened from public view. There is some space along the western side of the property that could have a shared access with McDonald's. So staff, you might recall, has been real concerned about maintaining connections from McKee all the way to the private road in the back. So, and making sure that there's pedestrian linkages. In summary, staff does recommend approval with 19 conditions. And happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I have a question. Because I am looking at this, and I want to understand how is the flow of the car going into the building? Because, because you have 4 lanes there, you know what I mean?
So I'm not a car wash expert, but are you guys here?
Oh, you're here? Okay, can you come to the microphone, please? And introduce yourself.
Catherine Rayner with Crew Car Wash.
Okay.
Yes, so as you see in the diagram here, when customers pull onto the lot, there's 4 designated lanes. 2 are for our VIP members where we have a membership attached to their vehicle, and then 2 lanes are for cash paying customers. So the customer will pull into either of the lanes. They'll be helped with an attendant, one of our team members on staff. Once they select and pay for their wash, they go under the canopy and they loop around and they merge into the single lane. And then they will turn into the car wash tunnel and pull through the tunnel. When they exit, they kind of have 2 options. They can utilize our free vacuums that we offer, or they can exit and leave the car wash. So I don't know if this is touch, but it's kind of like a U shape.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah, so they're coming in, they're going to like pay up here, then they're going to swing around and then go through the car wash. Then they can come and go to any of the vacuums.
Those ones are the vacuum. Okay.
Those are vacuums, yeah.
So they'll pull, this is the car wash going this direction, and then they will have the vacuums here if they want them. If they don't, then they will head back out the exit to Jamestown Way.
I have another question. How many, inside the tunnel, that you call it, so you have, is 1 lane or is...
It is, yes. Yeah, okay. So your car is pulled on a conveyor belt. So customers do stay in their vehicle the entire duration. It's an exterior only car wash. So we do not touch the inside of your vehicle.
Okay. It's not like the one on Park Street. What is that name? Okay. I get it now. Because that one is my confusion. Okay. So what is the capacity of those 4 lanes? How many cars can be parked at the same time? Because I want to tell you, I take my car to what is the car wash here on PD?
Quick Trip?
Yeah, and sometimes it's full. There are so many cars. And then, and I am thinking about, because of the location and the space here, if we have long lanes, how we absorb that capacity. So how many cars can they be parked at the same time there? You know what I mean?
Does our diagram show cars stacked on any of the submittal pages?
One of them, I think, if you scroll down, had pictures of cars.
Yeah, it should, without kind of counting. But we do feel that there's adequate stacking.
Okay.
This location is a very long runway, as you can see here. And vehicles are on our property anywhere from 2 to 4.5 minutes. So we're a very quick serve style car wash. So customers, are not only is it quick inside the tunnel, but the queuing system and them getting helped and selecting their wash is a very quick process.
Temporary convert one of the VIP lanes if your two cash lanes that are starting to overflow?
Yeah, so we can do that. We can merge customers into actually any lane, and our team members can help them. We have tablets that serve the team members, so our team members are constantly moving from lane to lane, and then we can wave customers over and help them in other lanes when necessary.
So you could fill all four kind of as needed? Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. Which are the hours of operation?
Our hours are every day from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay. Every day?
Every day.
Oh, okay.
7 days a week.
Okay. Any other question, comment, Gabriela?
Did the memo talked a little bit about concerns with lighting and when we would turn that off? Can you talk a little bit about that, Deanna?
Yeah, we were just asking, staff's inquiry was if the lighting would be on 24/7, and the applicants noted that they will turn off after their open hours, or they'll reduce the amount of lighting on site.
Correct.
Am I?
Yes, yeah, so we don't leave all our lights on, obviously, when we're not operating.
Okay.
We'll just have safety lights around like the doors. But our lighting plan should reflect the after hours illumination.
And the other thing that you mentioned is that the four buildings are going to be consistency with the architectural design and because we don't have like a...
Staff has been trying very hard to have a consistency in terms of the color of brick,
Okay.
the some kind of limestone material, and then the darker accent with the storefronts. Staff's been trying to work with each one of the different developments.
Gabriela and then Carol. Oh, bueno.
So with the car wash, and I guess it's a little bit for both of you, like, is there any sort of special filtration system or like connection to the sewer that is required in this project that's above and beyond what a typical project would be?
Yeah, so actually out of all of our locations, so we operate 50 plus locations currently throughout the Midwest. We have a reclaim system that we actually reuse 50% of the water on your vehicle. And then on average, it takes about 35 gallons to wash a car, which is significantly lower than like driveway washing, which washes about 100 gallons of water. So we really do pride ourselves in kind of our technology and how we wash and reuse the water on site.
That's very cool. And then so the water that does make it, does it go through some sort of special filtration process before it ends up in the sewer?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We have an underground tank system that really filters that water out and gets kind of all the gross, the gruddy stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Carol, do you have a question?
I was just going to commend staff and the applicants. I was very anxious about what a car wash was going to look like for up here. And I got to tell you, this is the best looking car wash I've ever seen in my life. So I know that staff worked hard on that, and I know you guys made some concessions too, and I really appreciate it because I think this is going to be a really nice looking stretch on PD up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to, because you mentioned that if we wash our cars in our driveway, we are 100 gallons of water we are using?
That's correct.
Really?
Yep, the National Car Wash Association actually put out a study, and it's about 100 gallons that you use when you're washing your vehicle in your driveway. So we really do pride ourselves in only utilizing 35 gallons a car, which is well above most car washes that average about 50 gallons a car.
Can you speak to the detergents and stuff you guys use? Do you have like biodegradable elements or like kind of natural elements to the soaps being used?
We do. I'm not super familiar with that just because I'm not on the operations side. But yes, we do have proprietary soaps and stuff that we utilize that are clean and good for the environment.
Okay. Any other question, comments?
I'll move approval of architectural design review, Jamestown Crew Car Wash.
Second.
All those in favor of the ADR say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
When you're going to start working with this project, do you know?
Yeah, so our goal would be to build in 2026.
2026.
So
okay.
we'll finish out our plans and really making sure that we're ready to break ground. And then, we're hoping to break ground in early spring.
Or next year?
Yes,
Okay.
2026.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Okay, so where we are now? G. So this is another ADR Illuminous Senior Housing Remodel request by Megan Bisk, agent for Eiley Senior Housing, Chapel Valley Road, Inc., to obtain architectural design review to allow a remodel of the existing senior housing facility located at 2931 Chapel Valley Road. Do we have the...
Yep, we're going to get it just in a sec here.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and explain what you're trying to do.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrew Kerr. I'm with Loom Architects. We are the architects of record. This is an existing affordable senior housing facility with 42 units. We are essentially just doing a little bit of a refresh on it, some energy upgrades, some ADA accessibility upgrades to improve the aging in place requirements. And then additionally, we'll be fixing some of the exterior elements, like adding some new landscaping to replace some existing landscaping that's reached the end of its life cycle, remilling the parking lot, replacing the parking lot lighting fixtures and sidewalk bollards. And then the major architectural change is the building currently has through the wall air conditioning units for all 42 of the apartments. That will be switched to a more energy efficient split ductless system, which will have a ground mounted condenser that then runs a coolant line up to each individual unit. The addition of those ground mounted condenser units will be screened with a 3-foot tall fence. You can see there in the rendering that originally proposed as white. However, we do have the color palette here with us tonight. We'll be using sort of a darker brown wood tone fence, which will better blend with the landscaping. And then any other questions that that the Plan Commission has, we'd be happy to answer.
Are you looking to install heat pumps as part of the HVAC upgrade?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you looking to install heat pumps as part of the HVAC upgrade?
It was a consideration early on. It didn't pencil out, unfortunately, and so that will not be part of the program.
What was the reason?
Cost.
Cost?
Yeah.
Okay. Gabriel.
Is this a change of ownership, or is this?
It is not. No,
okay.
the units are just, they're tired. The bathrooms and the kitchens take a lot of abuse in these senior living facilities, and so everything on the inside is pretty tired looking. The outside of the building needs to be re-roofed, repainted, and that provides some opportunities to make some improvements for the tenants as well.
Do you anticipate that this will change the cost of the units significantly for the tenants?
I don't believe so, no. There are some tax credits that are involved in the pricing of that, so I don't believe there's any intention to be changing the rents.
And what is the plan for the tenant?
That's an excellent question, Madam Mayor. The tenants are going to be moved out in sort of vertical slices. Okay. It'll be done in 3 phases. They will move into long-term temporary housing, sort of an extended stay hotel during that time, and their possessions will either go with them or they'll have some accommodation for some storage of those as well. Obviously, the goal is to get them in and out as quickly as possible, and if we can manage to do that before the holidays, I think everyone would be happiest.
So when are you planning to start with this project?
Construction would start late spring, early summer.
This year?
This year, yes, ma'am.
And to be complete by the end of the year?
I don't know that we're going to meet an end of the year completion. Okay. That's the goal.
Okay.
But we at that point will have turned it over to the contractors. Yeah. The goal is to obviously have these residents in temporary housing for as short a period of time as possible.
Oh, it's great. I live like 2 blocks away from that property, and I know that it's getting old.
Yeah, it's a little tired. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes,
it's a little tired.
So I'm glad that they're renovating this. So, Caro.
I have 2 questions, and
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
for staff. Thank you. I think your ADR looks great. The buildings are going to look great, and I love your materials. The first question for staff is, I noted in some of the staff communication that this is going to require park fees, and that was confusing to me because there's no change in the number of units. So Scott in Parks had said that this does fall under the parkland fees.
Oh, that's Scott.
Okay.
No, not,
Good.
there's other Scotts, but no, this does not require park fees.
So I wanted to
Yes.
nip that
Park fee.
in the bud because there's no change to the units. So
Yeah,
there's no
there's
reason
no
that
park
would
fees
happen.
due.
My second question is one that's near and dear to my heart and probably no one else's. But the last sentence in the staff report says that the applicants have removed the proposed flag and flagpole from the project scope to conform to the lighting ordinance requirement. And I asked specifically when we passed that ordinance if this was going to preclude people from having flags. I drove by your facility on the way over here. There is a flag. There are probably a lot of veterans that live in your building, and I'm married to a veteran who gets cranky when people don't treat the flag right. And I just want to make sure that there's nothing in that light ordinance that we passed that precludes outdoor flagpoles.
We would have to do it by special permit, as it's written.
Even though it's in as an exception because it's a government
Oh,
thing.
did I miss that?
I believe we have an
Okay.
exception in that.
This is new. I apologize.
No, and I didn't have time to call you today, or I would have asked, because
Okay.
I know we had this discussion when this came before this body, and I don't want to have a lighting ordinance that precludes buildings from having flagpoles with lights on them at night, because that's...
I apologize if I missed that.
Okay.
I don't think flagpoles are specifically mentioned. It was just that anything that had a government, I don't know, there was one of the conditions for getting an exemption had something to do with if it was required. And I don't think there's an actual law that says that you have to have a light on a flag at night. But I think
disagree with you on
Really?
that. Federal
No,
law,
actually,
if you're going to
it is
have
required.
a light, if you're going to have a flag at night, you do need to have it properly lit.
Yeah, that's part of the flag protocol, but it isn't an actual law. But anyway, I just want to make sure that that's not what's happening here, because I would hate to have that flag have to come down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the flag may have been removed as part of the lighting review. I'm sure they'd be open to keeping that. As a current Scoutmaster, I also take flag protocol very, very seriously and would love to see the flag remain there. There's an additional lighting aspect that is referred to in the report. The bollard lighting in the drop-off area is currently set at 1.9 foot candles, which is 0.4 foot candles above the ordinance allowance, but is in alignment with engineering best practices for senior housing. And we would request that is made part of this approval this evening.
Right, and your flag's not very tall, so it's
No,
facing the park, so it's not like it's going to throw light into somebody's bedroom window. So, I don't know. I would just like to see that revisited, please.
I think we can revisit that. Unfortunately, to go up to 1.9 foot candles, we'll have to do a special permit through me. But we can work that through.
Is that something that should be reflected in through the approval, or is that something that we can just chat about here and you all can do it on staff time? Does that make sense?
I just left number 7 as any lighting shall be compliant with the city's Chapter 28 lighting ordinance or request a special permit. So the special permit, that's something that is handled administratively.
Great.
Okay, so do you want to do your report?
I think we got through that one piece. The other piece that I just wanted to point out, I know that we're treating parking a little bit differently than when this was originally developed, but they are reducing the overall parking count slightly on site as they're reworking the parking area and reworking the landscaping. I don't believe that that's any problem whatsoever. When I reviewed aerial photographs back the last 30 years, I've never seen that parking lot full. And so that is something that is included in the conditions. The on-site parking would be approved for 36 stalls, and staff feels that's adequate. And then there is a variety of landscaping being new landscaping going in as part of this project. Our city forester was very excited to see some fruit trees.
Yeah, there are currently fruit trees on the site, and the residents love them, so we wanted to keep that.
So that's all I have. I do recommend approval with the conditions.
Which fruit trees?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I don't even know what, I guess apple, but I'm scared.
We're going to find out soon, though.
Okay, any other question, comments?
I'll move to approve ADR for Illumina's senior housing remodel with the 9 conditions noted by staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the ADR, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck. Okay, now we are item H. Is conditional use CU-2582-25 requested by Dan Olson, agent from Wingra Real Estate LLC, to obtain a conditional use permit to allow an electronic menu board sign of 20 square feet or less in conjunction with the proposed McDonald's facility in the Jamestown Quarry neighborhood on property located off McKee Road. Do we have anyone from McDonald's?
I don't think so, and I'll take this one.
Okay.
This is a conditional use for the drive-through signs. Thanks to Shelley. Thank you, Shelley. We realized that staff missed the fact that we can only have 2 freestanding signs. So at Plan Commission, this item was postponed indefinitely. The applicants have chosen to just withdraw this application at this point. Zach and I do have a meeting scheduled with the applicant team tomorrow morning to discuss their signage. So Plan Commission doesn't need to take any action at this point. This is officially stating for the record that this application has been withdrawn from the applicant, by the applicant.
So what does it mean? That it's going to delay the project and all of that is? Or no?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. So next we move to item I, is Ordinance 2025-0-06, removing mobile home parking requirement by repealing Section 32-143 of the Fitchburg Code of Ordinances. Okay, so this is something that I move forward because we are trying to remove all the parking requirements in our website, in our ordinance, and this one was still in this chapter, in the section 32, but we found out late after that we need to follow by state mandate, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a state law.
We didn't know when we move it forward, so yeah. So I think it's in the package. There is a memo that explains this. So so the idea is to follow the language from the state.
Yeah, so TTC, I think, just passed it by removing all reference in our code. And what this memo is just saying is that should we ever have another manufactured home park, even though the city doesn't require the 1.5 parking spaces, the state will.
Yeah.
And we will have to bring forward a project with 1.5 parking spaces because we can't have less restrictive requirements than the state. So what is before you is the building inspector, John Crook, suggested that what we could put in, instead of just completely removing all reference from this particular section regarding parking in our code, we could just say that no additional parking requirements are imposed beyond those imposed by Wisconsin statute, blah, blah, blah. So it's really kind of up to Planning Commission how you would like to proceed. You can certainly just literally strike that section out of the ordinance so that it would say section 32-143 is hereby repealed, and it's just gone. The building inspector is suggesting language something like this that just says no additional parking requirements are imposed beyond those imposed by Wisconsin, such, such, such. Did I totally lose everybody here?
No, it's fine.
I guess if TTC just struck it and we don't want to be beholden to them changing the number of the Wisconsin code or whatever, part of me just says just strike our current restriction, and then doesn't it just default to the Wisconsin, whatever the current relevant Wisconsin code is?
We would have to enforce the state code. Yeah.
So rather than give ourselves another number to track,
Well,
TTC
we still have to
just
track
struck
it. I mean, it's still being tracked.
Right.
From my perspective, I'd rather have that language in there so it's very clear that we have a state statute that we're following.
Sure.
So there's no confusion if someone's looking at that from, just a local ordinance. Like, we might as well reference it. Pass down stuff is pretty regular in government, so.
At the staff level, it makes it a little easier, but I'll let the attorney.
No, I was, because I have this conversation with the attorney because she was the one who helped me to put together all of this, but then we found out that there was this, we need to follow the state, so she recommended to have that language.
I'm fine with that. I was just trying to make it simpler for later change, but I appreciate the reference.
Oh, Shelley, do you want to say something?
I was just going to ask, why did TTC want it struck?
I do not believe that we
Rather
had.
than incorporating the cross-referencing to the
Well,
state.
you were in the
I do
meeting.
not believe that we had this language in front of us when we
No.
And
looked
that
at
might
it.
be the case.
Yeah, I have no recollection of this discussion. I think that only thing before us was the strike.
Yeah, they found out about this when it was yesterday or Thursday or something? No, what is it?
I
Which day
think
is
the memo
Late.
was surfaced yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, yeah.
The memo was in process on Friday.
And your meeting
so
was
your meeting
last
was on
week.
Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Yeah, so that's it. Maybe you didn't know about this.
I think there was a mention of it, but it wasn't, yeah.
Okay. So,
What do we do to put that language in place?
You would just make a motion to approve with the language. You could say motion to approve with the language recommended by John Crook, the building inspector.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2025-0-06 with the language recommended by John Crook, the building inspector.
Second.
okay, all those in favor of the ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next one is J. So it's a resolution R-47-25 approving relocation order for construction and design interceptor phase 2 extension. Okay, what is this?
I'll try to give a little background. So this would be an extension of this sanitary sewer line. Right now it ends, here's Haight Farm, right here, the Lacey Roundabout. And so the proposed extension would be coming just on the backside of this lot. And what it will eventually serve is all of the Hartung development all the way south to Oregon. So this is a pretty big deal, what's happening here in terms of the long-term development here in the city of Fitchburg. This pipe would eventually connect a big chunk of Fitchburg in the future with
And
sanitary.
Greenfield?
Including Greenfield,
Okay,
yes.
good to know.
Good to know.
That one, this was very important for the development that is coming there too.
Yeah, for
the
for
town hall.
Hartung, right?
And
So-
the other ones.
Yep. So this is the future Hartung development. There's there's sanitary sewer already serving this section of Hartung, but, and then also,
The Sean O'Brien.
yeah, for the Sean O'Brien's townhomes here too. So unfortunately, what this means is that the city is going to have to work out an easement agreement with this single-family property owner. So what is before you is there's no relocation of anyone, but it's just a formal process to say that, yes, the city can go into negotiation with this property owner in order to get an easement to put the pipe through approximately through here. And then it will follow along this property line, probably cut across here at some point into this area. So unfortunately, well, all of these things move very fast. And so what is proposed is a 30-foot public easement shown here. And then your packet didn't have this map that shows the temporary construction easements, so I highlighted that in yellow. So as part of this resolution, the Public Works is also asking to negotiate a 10-foot temporary construction easement on any side of that 30-foot easement. So it will be a very deep pipe.
I was just going to say, are we gauging this with anticipation for all of that development that will be connected to this?
Yes, staff is. It's hard to know everything for sure, but staff is working through updated calculations that would kind of estimate what would be needed, at least in the next 100 years. There's kind of an assumption that even this pipe will probably only last 100 years, and if they have to do, once they have to do that, maybe they do a bigger pipe at that point if they need to.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So that's a single-family lot in a sea of development over there. If that person would decide that they want to sell that lot to have it redeveloped, does that preclude building on that lot then?
No. This part is going to be buildable. This is all wetland.
Got it. Thank you.
This is not really buildable back here.
I just thought with how big the lot was, that was my concern, but yes, thank you.
It's a good point. There's environmental corridor because there's wetland. And so this is a mapped environmental corridor that's not going to change. So this part, we've talked about that. It would have been great if Sean O'Brien could have worked out a deal, but this particular property owner is not interested.
Can I just say something like more big picture? Is there a reason? I'm just curious why this comes to Plan Commission. It always seems like we don't have the expertise to, to like talk about these things. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I think on one level, it's just keeping Plan Commission aware of understanding these different, because this does it. I think you said it right. This has potentially development impacts here, and your area of expertise is understanding that big picture in terms of development. And I agree some of these probably don't feel so comfortable coming to Plan Commission. We went back and forth. It appears that these in the past have always come to Plan Commission.
It goes to finance too.
Yeah, I mean that's just my
well,
I'm curious.
It goes to finance because you're going to have to work out
pay for
it.
Yeah,
money. They're going to have to work out some sort of agreement for payment
For the easement?
for the
but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just as almost more of an informational data point. Yeah.
Any other question, comment?
I'll move approval of resolution R4725.
Okay, all those in favor of resolution R4725 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so we are at the end of the agenda, and then we move to report from department. Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Or? Oh, okay. So Things are proceeding behind the scenes in terms of the neighborhood plans. Staff has completed their review of the South Stoner neighborhood plan at the staff review level. MSA is doing the updates so that everything is consistent with what staff would expect. We received the draft Greenfield neighborhood plan last Friday, and so we are looking at having our staff reviews completed by next Monday, and then give a week or so, however long is needed, for MSA to complete their updates. Our goal is still to refer out the neighborhood plans in April. Either way, I intend to bring at least the draft documents to Plan Commission in April. Whether or not we formally get all the referrals done, I think it's important to get this before Plan Commission. I know that they're big documents, and I know that it's going to just take time. What we're tentatively looking at is coming formally to Plan Commission in June for both of the neighborhood plans. That's where we would actually have our public hearing and look for Plan Commission's recommendation of adoption in June. And that would put us at the first meeting in August for council.
Yeah, this is the plan.
This is the plan. Yep. So, any questions about that? So the goal is to get at least the draft document in your hands next month.
That we might have a light agenda next month. If
I
I'm
don't
not
know
mistaken.
about that.
No. Okay. We don't have council next. We canceled the next council meeting, so there won't be an opportunity for more referrals. But if we have plenty of referrals,
Yeah, you'll have to do
we'll
what you
refer
do
on April 8th.
You have to do what you do in
yeah, we'll refer at the April 8th meeting.
We'll find stuff for you.
We'll have it. Thank you.
Don't worry. Staff is working through on the comp plan RFP.
That one is okay.
We're working.
Continue.
I know we're working on it. I don't have a particular timeline right now. We are going to have an intern this summer. So Zach and I next week will be doing some interviews for an intern. I'm really excited about that. One of the things that we definitely have to get done as a team is doing the updates on the exclusive agricultural zoning. We have some updates that need to be done for state law, and then we have to do a handful of rezones. We will take a handful of properties out of AX, exclusive agriculture, to AT, agriculture transitional, in order to align with the county's formal farmland preservation plan. So that's one thing that we'll be working through over the summer with the intern. I'm sure we'll have a lot of other things. The other thing I just want to mention, I probably should leave that for Shelley.
What?
Okay, I think I'm good right now.
No, I have a question about the RFP for the comp plan. I think my understanding was that the idea is to be this RFP be out at the end of March.
Mm-hmm. We're doing the best that we can.
Because that one is priority. Is zoning too going?
Yeah, we're going to put zoning together
Okay.
with the RFP.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be the zoning and comp plan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to ask you every mate.
I know you are.
Okay, so what is next? Now, Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee report.
Okay, I'll just give the general and then go back to Deanna for details. But there was no meeting this month in lieu of the ag listening session that's scheduled for March 26th. And Deanna, if you want to give more details about that, I turn it back over to you.
Okay. Yeah, so the Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee has traditionally held a listening session that allows department heads to come and just talk about some of the projects and initiatives that might be impacting our rural areas, and then allowing just the public to come in and ask any questions or express any concerns. So we just call it the agricultural listening session. That is scheduled for March 26th at 4 p.m. It will be held at Four Winds Farm, and everyone is welcome to join us for that listening session.
I haven't seen any outreach, even the council. We didn't get any invitation to the meeting, so I don't know how people will know about this March 26th meeting.
Okay, I will work on that.
Yeah, please, because it's 1 week away. So if you can send an email also to the council. So I don't know if the elders of the district know about this too.
I did invite the alders of the district. I know I did
okay.
that. But I'll send out an overall. And
Yeah, but
I'll
I think
work
this is important for the whole council. So
Okay.
we can go too. Okay. So then, anything else, Shelley? No? Transportation and Transit Commission report.
Road construction update. Sayin Road phases 2 and 3 are going to be starting this month and next month. So there will be some construction happening on Sayin Road. So for those that live there, that'll be pretty significant. The Capital City Trail will still be open.
No, they're closing.
I believe that's what I heard last week. Is that it'll be open?
There was an email.
Oh, never mind. Strike that. Beware. Watch out for bike closure.
I've seen a Facebook post. It was also,
So if you're a biker, watch out. Pay attention to the closures. Do not listen to what I say. We also talked about updating the transit plan, so we'll probably be working on that potentially have the council update it sometime in July or August of next year, of this year. We discussed multi-use path crossings and how they're marked. Had a long discussion about, green pavement, how that's used in city design, and just like the rules and the laws around it. So that was sort of interesting. And then we also talked about potentially creating a railroad quiet zone through the Swan Creek area. What it would require. We have six crossings. 3 of them do not meet the requirements, but you might be able to do a quiet zone for the ones that do. We're exploring it, how much it would cost to make that happen.
Do we have complaints about that?
I don't know.
That one will be the first question.
Yeah,
because
I
if we
think
don't have complaint, why we are going to do it?
Yeah, I think the discussion centered around. Huh?
There's not that many trains.
Yeah, that was part of the discussion. Is that
that goes into downtown Madison.
I think if we were to do it, it would be it would just be in the zone that already complies with the requirements. But I think the question then becomes how much would it cost to apply?
So.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. I'm aware that there's no money. So yeah. Anyway, FYI, we talked about it. No decisions were made, obviously, and I think we're going to find out more from Ross next time.
But what about Vision Zero? You're not working.
Oh no, we're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Vision Zero is continued work on. We're hoping to see it soon.
I'm unsure if this is a question for TTC or the mayor. Do we have a timeline on finishing the paving of Osmondson Road? That's still graded from last fall.
I think they do that.
I think it has to do with the temperature of the road, so I assume it would be soon.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in November.
I just like that permanent signs got put up instead, and we got to deal with that all winter. So I'd love to understand when that's going to be.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. The Vision Zero would be. I think it would be referred out next month.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Any question for Gabriela? No. Okay. Any other announcement? No. Okay. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting at what time is 8:18? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Gracias. Buenas noches.